foundation of longevity. So the choices that we make today are really potent tools for extending our health span and lifespan. And number one is exercise. I like to call it the most potent longevity drug because it really is. It activates all of those physiologic systems that are important for health and well-being. I like to encourage people to kind of define your future self and figure out how to get there. The number one tool is going to be exercise. Keep in mind that age-related decline really is a reality. And so what we do today can attenuate that decline. But it's important that we're proactive in what we do to attenuate it. We have quantifiable mortality reduction tools. So exercise and how it improves our VO2 max can really measurably impact what we anticipate happening as we grow older. Movement is immensely powerful, very important to keep in mind. And then there are some key exercise modalities that we'll talk about here. What are those? Zone 2 training. So this is your foundation when it comes to exercise. Zone 2 training is exercise where you're working hard enough that it might be a little challenging to have a conversation while you're doing it, but you could. Most of our time exercising is spent there. It's important to mix in some high intensity interval training, strength training, and also stability and mobility work. And these 4 aspects to your exercise program are really going to move the needle in terms of your health and well-being as you get older. The second aspect of lifestyle medicine that is essential is nutrition. I mean, this really fuels your longevity. We like to have a solid, scientifically based foundation. We like to think about principles for nutrition rather than specific diets, and focus on diets that impact our metabolic health. So when I talk about prioritizing metabolic health, these are diets that impact our insulin sensitivity, our lipid profiles, our glucose profiles, as well as our weight. But weight is not the only thing that's of importance here. Mediterranean eating patterns are known to be beneficial. It's important to prioritize protein intake, about 1.6 grams per kilogram of body weight protein intake daily. Really minimizing ultra-processed foods. These are associated with morbidity and mortality, cardiovascular disease, diabetes, and accelerated aging. Emphasis on fiber and healthy fats, and prioritizing whole foods. These are good strategies to optimize your nutrition. And then lastly, kind of rounding out the idea of lifestyle medicine, sleep, management of stress, and in maintaining good social connectedness are essential. 7 to 9 hours of sleep at night. This is when our body repairs, boosts our immune system. It's good for our cognition, reduces our mortality risk. Stress management through mindfulness, emotional regulation, builds resistance, lowers inflammation, and social connectedness is really associated with improved longevity and reduced mortality. Loneliness and social isolation are directly related to increased morbidity and mortality. So prevention, again, lifestyle medicine and prevention really do overlap. But prevention does sort of have some unique characteristics and aspects that I want to touch on. Part of prevention that's not necessarily lifestyle medicine includes things like detecting risk factors and mitigation. So an example would be a colonoscopy. So we oftentimes we'll lump colonoscopy into screening, but when we talk about removal of precancerous polyps during colonoscopy, I mean, that really is prevention. That's identifying a risk, the polyp, and removing it, thereby preventing cancer. So you can think about colonoscopy from that perspective. I would include things like dental care here also. It's a procedure, it's prevention, and of critical importance also. We can also talk about some risk stratified interventions, things like prophylactic surgery, say for somebody who's at exceptional risk for breast cancer, or pharmacogenomic testing to make sure that people are not taking medicines that don't work for them or are not taking medicines that could be harmful to them. Lastly, we also think about things like targeted prophylaxis and mitigation of risk.